Hello, this is Angelica Francis with WYDK Talk Radio, and I'm looking at information about radon. Radon is something I'd never heard of before. If I've encountered it before, I have no knowledge of it. But recently, it's something that we have to seriously take into consideration because right now they've got radon mitigation here where we live and several other buildings, including other buildings built by the same company that built this one here in Lake Tahoe. And I had inquired before if radon could be a possible issue here. For those of you who don't know, I've been dealing with toxic black mold in my apartment and severe respiratory issues and lymphedema, I think is how they say it, which was diagnosed as lymphoma, and a lot of really serious medical issues because of the exposure to the toxic black mold. And my daughter and granddaughter and my youngest son also lived here with me at some point and for a prolonged period of time. And they also had varying symptoms and different things that were going on with their health here. So we know there's definitely a sick building syndrome formed here at this location because every time somebody comes here, they're getting sick. And I noticed that with family and people who would come shortly after coming here would get ill. I was getting ill constantly and wasn't getting well, and everything we were trying wasn't working. And now that the doctors have tested me and done more in-depth testing, we know. And the apartment's been inspected by an OSHA and EPA certified environmental health company, and 3 of the most toxic molds there were found in this apartment and in large quantities. It's all over the apartment. There isn't a room that isn't affected, but my room is the least affected of them all. And so there's been a lot going on and a lot of really major medical stuff happening, and several of the other tenants have passed away in the second building, and 3 of them who hadn't passed away yet but were really, really critically ill were taken to hospice. 6 people, and I include myself in that 6, have had cancer scares and cancer diagnoses. So I wanted to find out more about this radon because some of the apartments have tested for higher than what's considered safe levels of this toxic cancer-causing gas. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm looking online just to see, well, what is it? And I'm noticing, like with the symptoms of the radon, things that we may have contributed to the black mold, the toxic mold in the apartment, also are symptoms that are caused by radon, like persistent cough. I cough all the time and get short of breath and can't catch my breath. And I have a nebulizer machine. They have me on albuterol. They moved me up to putting me on Symbicort. I have the hand inhalers. There was another drug that they were giving me, and I've had an awful time breathing. And several of the people who heard my recent broadcast, because I haven't broadcasted in years, especially anything live, have questioned, your voice sounds so different. And I would explain that I'm short of breath. It's shallow breathing. And I'm hoarse constantly. I lose my voice daily, all day, days at a time, trying to just speak. And so I was kind of surprised to see that the hoarseness was also a symptom of the radon, because I couldn't explain why I was constantly hoarse all the time. And again, the symptoms with both the toxic black mold and the radon, the mold has a lot more symptoms by far, but the persistent cough, the hoarseness, breathing difficulties, recurring respiratory infections, those are also symptoms of black mold. But I found it interesting. And so I'm just trying to learn a little bit about, well, what is this thing? And everything I see about it's pretty bad. It is the second leading cause of lung cancer, and 15,000 to 22,000 lung cancer deaths each year are caused by radon. That's no joke. That's nothing to take lightly. And chest pains, I've been getting a lot of chest pains. And bronchitis quite constantly. I'm just getting over another bout of it, which floored me for about 3 weeks. And I'm not fully over it, but this is something that needs to be looked into a whole lot further. And if you look at this map, the highest places where radon's at risk is nowhere near us. Here we are, let's see, in this section of California. And we're right on the border, so let me take that back. Because Lake Tahoe is right here on the California-Nevada border. You walk 2 blocks from our house and you're on the Nevada side. And the radon is right here where we are. So, Zone 1, highest potential. And the thing is, Bill Potts, the city inspector, he's been out here many times and he knows about the black mold in the apartment. He's seen it. He's had pictures of it. He's been here present where I've shown it to him. And he just dragging his feet, won't do what's supposed to be done about this. And that's a whole mega issue right there that we're going to have to address. Because the city officials, if they won't do anything about it, and it's the law, and they are highly responsible for the fact that it's gone on as long as it has, and that I'm as sick as I am. Because if they would have done their jobs as soon as it was present and as soon as it was made known to us, and he has copy of the reports for 2 years, and I'm still in here, and by law within 24 hours I should have been out of here. So the extent the sickness has spread in my body and the issues and the medical issues that it's caused, the city of South Lake Tahoe has a very large responsibility for this, because they've had full knowledge the whole time I've been notifying their offices. And he stood on my face and lied and said that our altitude, there's no radon in Tahoe, and our altitude is too high, and gave me this whole spiel about how there's no possibility of radon here, when I asked him about it over a year ago. It's been almost 2 years ago. Could radon be an issue in this apartment? And the reason why I brought it up is, again, I didn't have any knowledge of radon. I went to a health fair that they have every year in the Bijou area, and there was a guy handing out pamphlets and information and talking about radon, and that was the first time in my life I've ever even heard of radon. And when he was mentioning what it does and symptoms of it, it came to mind when we were having the symptoms of the mold toxicity here, that what if it's not just mold that we're dealing with, you know, my children and I? What if there's more to it? What if radon is in here? And again, I posed that question directly to Bill Potts, and he lied his ass off. Come to find out that there's radon mitigation all over the city, and that it's a very serious issue here, and fairly, I won't say common, but it's a lot of it. It's a good amount. It's several locations. And something else that I had noticed about Tahoe, I had never encountered children with cancer. And since I've been in Tahoe, I've seen more people with cancer, than anywhere else I've ever lived. And more children, little kids sick with cancer. I've met 3 of them, beautiful little children that are going through horrible things right now because they have cancer. And that's just a lot for the population in Tahoe is very small, considering most of the people who own houses here don't live here. They just come for holidays and vacations. So to have such a large number of people and to run into so many people, when I've lived in big cities in much larger areas and most of my life, and I've never met and have known personally so many people who had cancer. So I think this radon situation is a lot bigger, especially here, than they want to let on to. And Tahoe is a city of secrets. Anything that would hinder tourism or look bad in any kind of way, they hide. And living here, so many things that we are aware of, even here, it's like a capsule because it's hidden from even the people who live here. Anything that could be negative or anything that, again, could look bad on tourism or make people want to be more cautious about being here. Issues from women being abducted. You know, they had a human slavery trafficking whole ring going on for years that only very few locals knew about, and that's only because some of us knew someone who was taken or the families of someone who was taken, but they kept everything hush hush. The number of deaths and incidents here constantly. Tahoe, a lot of people die here constantly. Everything from vehicle going off the side of the mountain, drunk driving, collisions, people getting hit by vehicles, you name it. And you can be witness, because I've had this happen to me several times, to incidents here, and look in the newspaper and try to find up follow-up information as to what was the outcome. Well, what happened? And it won't be in the paper. It won't be anywhere. As if it never happened. And that's just the way Tahoe operates. As if nothing ever happens here when things are always happening here. And the level of the things that happen here are really, really serious at times. But even the locals are kept from information. So the question to me is, how many people are getting sick and dying from this stuff? How many people, just so they can try to keep their image polished? How much of this is going on all over and folks don't know? I've lived here 9 years and I didn't know. And have been exposed to something horribly bad, or many things. And I came here to rest and heal from a car accident. And I'm in worse health than I've ever been in my whole life. And critically ill because of what I've been exposed to here. So it just makes me question what else is going on that they're not telling anybody about, and that they're keeping quiet. And this is a city of secrets. And it's not in the favor of anybody except for those who stand to make the most money. But as far as everybody else is concerned, oh well. And that's sad. That's beyond sad. But it is what it is.